Okay, so we're talking about making a mural for the civil rights activists and all of the positive changes that happen our movement towards a greater democracy. So because I wasn't able to be here, I recorded this, so hopefully this will help you understand the directions and my expectations. So if we go on to if you look at the piece of paper that you were handed out, the first set of directions, make a large and very detailed mural to the civil rights activists and major changes to our government and society during the 1865 to 1900 time period. That means taking all of your notes from the Padlet that you worked on and all of your other notes and any other things that you have and making a very large illustration that fills up the whole page and preferably two pages, so basically one side and then the second side, that gives a lot of representation to all of the positive things going on. When you're planning your mural out, which is what you're going to do for the rest of the class today, I want you to think about the symbols that you can incorporate. So it shouldn't be just about the people, it shouldn't be sketches of heads. There might be one head, but it really should be more about objects that represent these people. And one of the largest world's first experiment in interracial democracy. And you need to make sure that, those symbols represent historical details from the time period. This is an example of a mural. What I want to show you is that a mural takes up a large amount of space. So your mural should cover the whole page. You notice that there's one person, but then there's like things, symbols on them. You notice there's a symbol here. There's mountains in the background that are like lightly colored. There's another symbol over there, and there's some other details. There's other things it's kind of hard to see what they are, but I'm sure they all come together. If you notice that the whole larger thing kind of represents a picture with some symbols kind of interspersed, but it's not just like a random collage of random symbols that don't seem to like tell a greater meaning. Everything that is done on this mural is done for a reason and placed in there for a reason. It also, like I talked about with the Underground Railroad, want to make sure that you work on shading and the way that things can be larger than other things. Like this person's head is bigger than the mountains. The mountains are kind of hard to see. So obviously it kind of sends a message about that person or what's the most important. There's another symbol that is kind of also really prominent, but the mountains still are a part of it. So think about what symbols or parts of your mural that you want more to pop out or to be more emphasized, using shading and possibly color if you get to it. The color is not something that I expect you to use, but could be. This is another mural. As you can see, it is a little bit less about some symbols and a little bit more about telling one certain thing, but it still has a person, animals. It has things that are larger than others. It has different angles that things are turned at, and has only, very little words involved, but a whole lot of things that kind of represent like the paradise theme. So they all are connected. If you notice, it's kind of a tree. There's things kind of stuck up randomly, but it's not like the tree is down at the bottom, or like the bird is kind of in the tree. So it's just another example. Like I said, you won't be graded on color, but you will be expected to have some shading and some really defined lines, because we're going to hang these up. This is another mural just to give you an idea. These faces, obviously it's a little bit more about faces, but there's still symbols involved and things that they could have added in these blank spaces to make it more descriptive. But again, your mural should have a lot going on in it. It shouldn't be something that is basic. This one has a lot of stuff going on. It could have obviously have more because it's kind of a little bit more like 1, 2, 3, and 4 themes, but it's another kind of example of a mural. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of what you can do for your mural, and make sure to incorporate a lot of designs and artwork into it. That's why you're given so much time to do this. When you're done with your rough draft on the back of the paper that you are given with the directions and the rubric, you should review the rubric, and you will create a final copy in cardstock paper that it will be hung up in the team area. You may use color if you have time, but everything else should be completed first. And if you get done early with one side, then you're going to do both sides. I strongly recommend that you use a couple of keywords that might be associated with the character of the people of the time period, or think about maybe the time period itself and what it offered ex-slaves. Think about the emotions behind getting the right to vote, the right to be considered a citizen of the United States, and that could not be denied based on your race, the right to be free, the right to go to school and learn, the right to get clothes and food and work for yourself. Think about the bravery of these people and all that they endured, and the fact that each one of them was subject to a lot of danger every time that they were in office. You might think about the quote, "They knew that to learn how to read was a revolutionary act." The war is over and is not over. No one shall deny people the right to vote based on race. So think about all of the different phrases and words that you've written down that are around you that you could use, or a characteristic of a person, a theme of the era and time period. Those are all different ways that you could incorporate a couple of different phrases or words. But it should be only that, and then the rest should be symbols, pictures, artists. It all needs to be your own work. You can trace things that are available to you, but you're not going outside to the computer labs and printing off different things. You're not going home and printing stuff off the computer. You are drawing from your own hand, and if you are not a confident people drawer, then don't draw people. Draw a bunch of symbols. And that's really it. Just make sure that you read through the rubric and my expectations of what you will be working on. Things like, to get exemplary, my symbols are understandable to the common person. I use more symbols than words to convey the message about contributions to the United States. The symbols are all connected somehow with a greater meaning behind their arrangement. For the history category, I include and refer to relevant, historically accurate details throughout the piece about their contributions and about the contributions of this time period to the United States. Any person would understand my message. I use correct language and respectful and historical accurate illustrations, and also that they're original. So make sure that it is all really super clear. Make sure that you have a lot of the positives, the 14th, 13th, 15th Amendments, people like Pinchback and John Lynch and Tunis Campbell and all of those really amazing people that you read about.